Hi, in this video, I'm going to pose a question, and that question is, what was the first thing that made you consciously aware that you were spiritually awakening? Do you remember what that was? That one thing or series of things that made you aware that something was happening and that you were becoming more and more aware, more and more conscious, and more interested in embarking on the spiritual path? Do you recall what that was? Well, I'm gonna make this video, and in this video I'll talk about some of the first things that made me consciously aware, in the hope that if there's someone out there who is wondering what's going on with them and maybe wondering what it is that they can do about it, might know that they're not alone, and this path is a-okay. All right. So anyway, for me, in the beginning, I was, if you have watched some of my videos, or one of my videos in which I explain how I got my first spiritual awakening. And that spiritual awakening occurred to me after I had a dream about how the world was supposed to end. What I did not realize at that time was that my world as I knew it was going to end, and I was going to be embarking on this marvelous, beautiful journey that I'm on right now. So a lot of things happened to that. Before that, I have always been a dreamer. Dreams was one of the things that made me, that I was consciously aware of as one of the things that led me into this path. I've always been a dreamer. I've always had vivid dreams. I've always had lucid dreams. I've always been able to travel out of my body. And because of those kinds of things that were happening to me, even before I became spiritually awakened, I knew that there's always something special going on, and there was always something much more than what was presented in the physical. I was an avid, staunch Christian, and I was having all these amazing experiences. I was having visitations by angelic beings, and I tried to ask all the Christian people, and because I was a Christian, I wanted an explanation from the church. I wanted an explanation from the Bible. I wanted an explanation from someone who was on the know about what was going on with me. But no one had a good explanation to give me other than tell me that this was all demonic. And how do you deal with demonic and evil things is to cast out the devil. But my perspective was, how could this be demonic? It feels so good. It feels so amazing. These experiences that I'm having are making me feel like there is just something out there that's just so beautiful, and I want to pursue it. I didn't know what to do with my dreams, but one day, the universe and the God force had to shake me out of this. And I had a dream in which I believed that the world was going to end. And I ended up latching on to a group of people who were also believing at that particular time, on May 21st, 2011, just to be honest, I believed that the world was going to end, and Harold Camping was out there propagating this whole shebang, and I believed it. And the world didn't end, obviously, but what I now understand is that my world as I knew it ended. All my belief systems were shaken to the core. And at that point, when the world did not end, my belief systems died with that. My old belief system, my fear beliefs that I held on to. And I just found myself thrust into a new life, which is the life that I'm living now. And from that point on, I feel like my life is now taking on a different path, which is amazing. I'm not even here to trying to, criticize anything or anybody, because everyone is on their own spiritual path, and everyone finds that path that they should be on at some point, sooner or later. This is just the story of my life, just in case anyone is wondering. Dreams played a big role for me in awakening. and they have continued to play a bigger and bigger role and amazing roles for me in terms of leading me down the path that I should be on, which, to be quite honest, is just at this point amazing. I am just so glad that even if I died today, I would just be like, I truly, truly enjoyed and lived my life and at least achieved something. I feel very grateful for that. So anyway, other than the dreams in my life, I also started having, uh, you know, seeing crystals for the first time and having crystals in my life. And that also triggered my consciousness. The crystals that came into my life, obviously, they work on a subtle energy level, and they contributed a great deal to opening up my consciousness to the point where I can't even explain to you. Crystals are just magical, magical beings. I keep saying that because they really do transform lives, and my path has just taken on a whole different dimension. If you have crystals around you, it changes everything, especially if you're in tune to them. It just changes everything. And then another interesting thing that happened to me was after I had the dreams about the world ending, I had a dream about crystals. And one time, because I was still trying to search to figure out what it was that was happening to me. I had no other understanding of why I was seeing angelic beings and what the meaning of my dreams were. Even though I had so many dream books and dream manuals of trying to interpret what my dreams meant, I needed to know that there was someone out there who kind of understood where I was coming from. So I ended up bumping into this girl by chance, who I tried to explain to her what had happened to me. Oh, wait, look at this baby. Isn't she cute? So cute. Oh my gosh, yes. Anyway, so I tried to explain to this woman what had happened to me, and I was trying to ask her about the crystal that I had seen in my dream and what it meant. I was just basically telling her that I didn't know what to do, and maybe if she had some insight or guidance to help me. And she told me something very interesting. She asked me whether I had ever had my DNA activated. At that point, I had never heard about DNA activation or whatever, but she told me, Caroline, you know what? If you have your DNA activated, then, those dormant DNA codons would, what was the explanation? Something about the junk DNAs or the dormant DNAs being activated, and when they are activated, then there was going to be, it would allow me to become more aware and more sensitive and much more able to figure out the things that were happening in my life. Trust me, I had no idea what DNA activation was. I just said, you know what, if this is going to help me figure out what my life is and why I'm having these dreams and why, things are happening in my life the way they are, then I'm all for it. For some reason, I just wanted to say yes to anything that was going to help me move along in my life. I wasn't sitting there thinking, is this good for me or is this bad for me? Because there really is no mistake in life. Life is just beautiful the way it is, and every path that we take is a path towards something that is just magnificent. I mean, it might look bad in the moment, but you know what? That's how life is, and you just go and roll with it. So I rolled with it. I asked her, how can I get my DNA activated? She referred me to someone, and I made an appointment, and I went there on that day to have my DNA activated so I could be in the know. So, my awareness could be open, my consciousness could be further triggered. So after I had that DNA activation, I tell you, my spiritual sense has just opened up. The interesting thing about this DNA activation session that I had was, during the session, while they were working on my crown chakra. I think they do some kind of etheric surgery, and I think, because my eyes were closed, but I could feel her touching my crown chakra. And while they were touching my crown chakra, for the first time, they were touching my crown chakra and moving along the back of my head, down my spine, or something like that. For the first time, to be quite honest, the moment they activated something at the top of my head, I don't know what that was. I don't care. It worked. my hearing opened. I could suddenly hear sound. I could hear the sound and the energy of sound. I can't even explain it, but I could hear things on a different spiritual level. My hearing changed. I could hear her move. Like she would move her hand to the left. I would hear the shoo, the whoosh, and swoosh and swoosh as she moved her hand up and down. Suddenly I could start hearing sounds. Then I was so excited. I was like, wow, something is happening. So because of that, that triggered me on the journey to trying to discover my intuitive senses. Now my ears are open. Now I can hear sound on a different level. Then now I'm very clairvoyant already. I can see things. So then my seeing became even more activated. Then I started becoming more conscious of what is intuition. So from that point, my awareness truly became open. So just to make this video short, um, some of the things that helped me move forward in my journey of spiritual awakening was definitely dreams. So dreams play a big part in triggering us. The crystals definitely played a big part in triggering me. And that DNA activation was another thing altogether. Then on top of that, obviously, there were other experiences along the way that helped me move further and further along. I started working on my intuition on so many levels, being more aware of my psychic senses. I started, I had experiences with energy healing and Reiki and shamanism and whatever. So the journey has been great. So you're not alone. It's a beautiful journey of just knowing who you are, the God self, fully utilizing all your senses and just going boldly and confidently in love. There's no fear in this. There's just love, complete love, and total self-love, self-healing, which is part of the process without which you cannot even proceed further. This whole journey is about healing yourself and loving yourself, and you cannot move forward without that. You have to love yourself. It will force you to love yourself and to heal yourself. There's just no two ways about it. It's all about love. There's no way you can love anyone else if you don't love yourself. It starts from self-love and self-healing. And this is the amazing journey of spiritual awakening. It is the journey of love. Love, love. No fear zone. It's complete and total love. And it changes everything. So I hope that all those light workers, all those light beings, all those wayshowers and starseeds and people who are on this amazing journey appreciate this and know that we are not alone. And I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. I'm so full of joy and love. And I love you all. See you next time. Thank you.